Hey guys, how's it going? Today is July 16th, 2024. What we got going on today is getting started on repainting the hood on this 2290. I got it back in the shop here. Got some other things we want to do to it, like to try to get the air conditioner going. We got a new compressor to put on it here, so that'll be nice, not having the hood to deal with there. Can get the air conditioner going while I work on this hood. So I went through and scrubbed it down with some hot soapy water. Got it all nice and clean here. And then I'm gonna have to go through and rough it up a little bit, I think, to make the paint stick to it. I feel like it would stick a lot better if it was roughened up. Yeah, I gotta go through here some epoxy and try to seal this here up where the fibers are showing through. And then there's a couple other places here with fiberglass is showing through. So if I'm gonna do it, I might as well do it right. And then right now I'm actually working on taking the old decals off the heat gun here and heating it up, and that loosens the glue up and they just peel right off. It's kind of crazy how it didn't rust behind those decals, but anywhere where it was exposed it had rusted. I had thought maybe it would rust from the inside out, but it must have rusted from the outside here. I'm gonna have to get that sanded down good. I'm gonna be doing the rattle can paint job on this hood. I think I can make it look pretty good just doing it that way. I have new decals I'm gonna be putting on here after I get her all painted up. What we actually did to the 2090 hood, it hit the house and then we had to get a different hood for it. And that hood was the same case. I think it was pretty rusted like this. I don't really know. It wasn't around back then. But what they did was they actually masked black decals off and then would have painted like this part here. So it looks pretty good doing it that way, but the problem is on this side here the decals all ruined, so that wouldn't have worked. Going this far into the project, I might as well do it right and make it look good. That's what I'm working at here. Gotta work at this a little more here before milking. Just gotta get through, heat it up with the heat gun, get the glue loosened up good. Now I gotta do each individual one down through here. This here decal is all one big one, but I wanted to keep tearing. Just grab a hold of it here and hope it all comes off into one piece. No, it's a pain to get them off. Yeah, it's starting to tear. Must not have had it hot enough. By no means doing this kind of stuff is simple at all. I'd rather stick to farming than body work, but I'd also like to get this tractor looking a little nicer. Having that hood rusty like that really makes the tractor look awful. It's the next day here now. I want to work on this hood some more. Yesterday I'd started taking the decals off and I got this far with it, so I have to continue this side and I have the other side to do. Some sandpaper. Just gotta go over this hood a little bit, rough it up some. I don't want to get too aggressive with it being it's fiberglass, because it wouldn't be too hard to mess it all up. Just enough to rough it up to get the paint to stick good. And then down here on this metal part, I'm gonna have to get some rougher sandpaper, put on the sander and try to sand that down to some good clean metal. And I have some primer. I'm gonna go through and mask the hood off. I don't really want to get primer here on this fiberglass because I'm not sure how the primer and the paint and all that stuff will react on fiberglass. Don't know. So I think I'm just gonna mask that off. I'll get this painted up and then we'll mask the front off and sand this down. And I got some black paint. I want to paint this here at the front, give that a couple coats, and then take the tape off here, mask the black off, and then do the white. The white will be the last step on this whole hood. And then this thing here in the center of the hood, it's supposed to be like a black decal. I don't really know what I'm gonna do with that yet. I don't I don't think it's that big of a deal if it's just gotta be white, because it's pretty much white right now because it's peeled off. But I could mask that off and paint that black. I would probably want to do that before I paint the rest of the hood. But I don't know, we'll see here. Ain't nothing wrong with that. Kind of thought about doing it, and I thought, how maybe the glue wouldn't stick, being it's old decal like that. But I think it'll work. What I'll do is just let it sit there for a little bit, and maybe it'll set up. And now you're through with my pocket knife. Try to cut a straight line down through there. Might not be perfect, but I'll at least give it a shot and see how it looks. There you have it. I have all the fiberglass sanded down the way I want it. Nothing too rough, just enough to scuff it up a little bit to make the paint stick. Now I got some of this here epoxy stuff I'm gonna put on here, and I'll have to sand that down. Nice smooth finish on that too before I paint it. Got some 100 grit sandpaper on this sander here. It's a low palm sander, nothing special. I think that'll be good enough to do this side here where the lettering was at. I'm pretty content with how I got it looking. Now you can see the spots where it was rusted, but there's not rust there anymore. It's down to pretty much bare metal, and with the primer on it, it should keep it from rusting for quite a few years, I would hope. But here at the front where it was really bad, I got that down to some good clean metal. So what I'd like to do is mask this hood off, get some primer on there. That way that metal's not exposed, and we'll see what it looks like before we do the other side. But I think it should lay on there pretty good at that. It's later on in the evening here now. I'm still working on this hood. I got a chance tonight to work on it a little bit, so I figured might as well. So I have everything done that I wanted to put primer on. I'm getting ready to paint the black here on the front where the headlights are. I got that all masked off. Looking pretty good. I did get a run there. I don't know if you guys can see it, but when you're spray painting with a rattle can, trying not to get a run is very difficult. It's the next day now. I'm not having very good luck with this hood. So last night I had finished putting primer on it, all that done, and then I figured I'd start painting on this here black on the front, and I went to put a second coat on it this morning, and it keeps wanting to orange peel on me. So what I did was I went through and sanded down to nothing everywhere where it was doing that. Went to repaint it again. Guess what? I did it again, and this time twice as bad. So I don't know what's going on there. Something's definitely reacting to the paint. I'm thinking maybe oil or something. Maybe oil off my hands. Something simple like that can really throw paint off, but we have to let that dry. I can't do nothing else with the hood because I put this epoxy on this morning where the fibers were showing through on the fiberglass. Still waiting on that to sand that down, and then I could paint the white. But I'd like to get this black done first. That way I can have it done and just mask it off, and then the rest will be painted white and be done with it. But it's not going that simple. So what we got to do now is let that dry. Then get through and sand the whole thing back down to nothing. I mean, the whole thing, not let any paint there, and start all over again. It's the only thing I know to do. Make sure it's good and clean. I had wiped it off the second time with some water there and dried it off with another clean towel. Couldn't see anything on there, so I have no clue. But since I can't do anything with that, I might as well work on this air conditioner. I'd started taking it apart here. Got the lines off of it. So this here is your bracket. I'm not quite sure how this here comes off. Looks like you take, there's adjustment here, I think. Looks like you take these bolts out here and it might come down around this way by the judging the way the bracket's made. Sweet. Fine then. That's all there was to it. I would have replaced it about 5 years ago. It is now Saturday. Been working on this hood past couple days. Didn't do much filming, and I just realized now I forgot to mask these springs off. Have to do that quick. But the hood is ready for the white paint. I tried to repair some of this fiberglass, and the stuff I had, it didn't set up right. I don't know what the deal was with that, so I got it sanded down pretty good. The whole hood sanded down now. I do have this front part black here, so I have it masked off. It actually turned out decent for me after about 5 times of doing that, because every time I went to put a second coat on, the paint would react and it would look horrible. So finally I got it sanded back down to nothing, put a coat on yesterday, and it's just gotta have one coat on it because I'm tired of messing with it. I don't know what the deal was there, but hopefully the rest of the hood ain't like that, because paid an arm and a leg and got Iron Guard C&H Power White paint. Some people probably think I'm nuts buying a case paint like that, but there's really no other paint out there unless you go to like Napa or something like that and get them to paint match something for you. But for just something like this, just this hood, I think this stuff should work. That's what we used in the past. It's what they painted the 2090 hood with. There's still a couple cans of that here on the shelf somewhere, but I'm sure that's no good. That's been like 15 years ago now since they fixed that tractor up. I don't know, I never used this kind of paint before. I'm sure it's just like any other paint. I hope it lays down nice, being that it's sanded. It looks pretty nice. It should work out for me, hopefully. To get them springs masked off there, and then we should be able to start painting. And I believe I read the back of the can here, and it said something about recommended recoat before 30 minutes or after 36 hours is the last coat. So I guess I'll put a good coat on it, let it dry for about 2 days here, and then come back Monday to it and put another coat on, and sometime later on next week put another coat on after that. I'd like to at least get 3 coats on this, that way it's good and covered. It's not looking terrible, but at the same time I'm not impressed. It's I know it's gonna take more than one coat, but it's not really covering the best. I don't know, it might be the type of paint it is, but I'm not gonna give up on it yet. It doesn't look terrible. It is Monday here now. I just finished up with this hood, at least the painting part of it. I couldn't be happier. What a headache this thing was. I know next time to go to a Napa store or something and get paint from them, and then get a paint sprayer for the air compressor there, because this case paint I got, paid an arm and a leg for it, and it was junk. It looks good now, but I had to redo this whole one side of the hood, because on Saturday when I was painting it, I painted this side here, looked good. I thought, man, this stuff's nice. It takes a good bit to cover it, but it lays down nice, and you hardly get any runs for, you know, whatever kind of paint it is. It worked out decent here in the end. It looks pretty good, but the paint must have been sitting around for a while, and when I went to spray it, it came out in a bunch of chunks and dry stuff. So the paint felt like sandpaper. It wasn't a nice smooth coat. So there was nothing I could do about it on Saturday there. I had to wait 2 days for it to dry completely, and then I went through and sanded this side of the hood down this morning. I made sure I got it good and shook up this time. I think that was my problem. It's partially my fault, but also at the same time, if you're gonna spend that kind of money on paint, you shouldn't have to worry about it looking nasty on the hood like that. That was, I don't think I have any pictures of it, but it was terrible. So now you look at it, it might look kind of goofy in a couple places, because some of this hood was painted on Saturday and some of it was painted today where I had sanded. It looks like it might be a little bit lighter here in this spot, but I think overall it looks pretty good. I made sure I got a couple decent coats on there. This paint here, as long as you can get it sprayed on, you can put another coat on within half an hour. After half an hour, you have to wait 36 hours to put it on. So that's why I had to wait so long to sand it down too. But like I said, I'm glad it's done. Disappointed in the paint. I had a piece of scrap metal here I was spraying on, and you can probably see some of the stuff that come out of the paint can. That's not what you want to see. But I know next time if I do a project like this, it's gotta be so much easier if I can learn to use a paint sprayer and go that route. But the chances of doing another project like this are pretty slim, at least right now. But overall, I'm happy with it. We just need to let it sit for 2 days here, get the paint good and set up on it, and then we can put the new decals on. That's gonna be the sketchy part, getting them on there perfect, because if they're not on there perfect, it's definitely gotta drive me nuts. But I don't think it should be too hard. There's a certain way you gotta line them up on there and work them down and lay them on the hood there. But we'll get to that. Right now I got some spraying I want to do. My dad and Pap are doing some mowing. My dad's got the 870 up at the heifer farm. My Pap's got the 2294 and the disc bind up there. Dad's mowing with the 3-point hitch mower along the fences, and my Pap's mowing the big pasture up there. He's just clipping it off where the heifers are. They eat most of it, and what they don't want, it's pretty much just dead stuff staying in there. He's getting that mowed off. That way if we do get some rain, new grass can grow back and the heifers will have some good hay to eat. Got my parts for the air condition. Got a new dryer, this thing here, and got a new clutch, an AC compressor, and a belt. Just need to get some Freon, well, not Freon, but the R134A refrigerant. This compressor, once I get that new clutch on, should be ready to put on the tractor there and get it charged up. Hope there's no leaks. There should be. Got the decals put on. Looks pretty good, I think. This one here, we did have a little bit of trouble with. You really gotta look at it, but right here in the middle, so the way they tell you to put these decals on is you peel the stuff back to about the middle here, and then you start the middle, work that way, and then start back where you stopped, work that way, and then you peel that stuff off the top. And we did have a little bit of trouble with it. Now it's really hard to notice, but it did drop down on us about right in here, but it's not really enough. You gotta notice it when you're at a decent distance. Right here's an air bubble. Hate air bubbles, but it actually turned out really good for someone like us doing it. We're by no means we're not professionals or anything, but that really makes the hood stand out. Looks a lot better now. There she be with the hood back on. Looks pretty good. What we gotta do with the rest of the tractor is I got some wax and some buffing pads ordered. I'll try to buff the rest of the tractor out to make it match. It's not gonna be, you know, perfect, but it'll still at least be, you know, original paint on here. The tractor's not that bad. It's got some surface rust that makes it stand out and look a little rough, but she's still in her work clothes, and don't plan to retire her anytime soon. But the hood looks 100% better not having that rust on there anymore. Makes a big difference. We put some straps around it with this, then went through the straps with this pipe on the skid loader, lifted it up here, got the hood attached, then hooked the springs up. Wasn't too hard. It was a lot easier on the back doing it that way. Just put some cardboard around the hood to keep the straps from scuffing the paint up. But that wraps this project up. Still got the AC to work on yet. Can't work on that until we get a new starter solenoid, because I went to disconnect the battery the other day. Broke the solenoid. So we can't get one of them till next week. It'll be in hopefully. But got everything hooked up here. Just need to run it and get it filled up with refrigerant. Hope there's no leaks. I also need to climb up there and blow the condenser out too. But hopefully that'll wrap everything up there. I did enjoy doing this project. Like I said, there was some headaches along the way, but you live and you learn. Some of it was my fault. Some of it was just dealing with some old paint. But it's done now, and I'm happy. I'm pretty happy how it turned out. Looks good, I think. I did put a light up there. Tried to get the 4-ways working on this thing as well. Couldn't get them to work. The turn signals work, 4-ways don't. So I put a new switch in. That's why I had the battery on the hook, because there's a hot wire going up to the switch there. I wanted to make sure there wasn't any power going to that. I had it unhooked and stuff. And new switch didn't help. I don't know if it's in the plug there for the switch or where it's at, but don't make any sense to me because it's all on the same fuse and stuff. Why would the turn signals work and the 4-ways not? That's how electrical stuff is. It's goofy. Hope you guys enjoyed the video. There's a little bit of different video. Kind of like doing some different projects now and then, and filming it. Same old stuff gets old. Feeding and field work over time gets old. Alright, well, thank you guys for watching. Hope you enjoyed it. Like and subscribe as always if you did, and we'll catch you guys in the next video. Have a good one. We'll see ya.